This is Emma Hobson. I am going to be doing my first voiceover of the NADGT Junior Nationals Championship. This will be a highlight video. Let's get into it. Alright, I am throwing the Harrier from Lone Star Disc. I put it on a little bit too much hyzer. As you can see, it's hyzering out too soon. Now I'm doing my upshot with the Armadillo. It looks like I almost went in, but I ended up short and a little right. Now I'm just going to tap in for a par and move on to the next hole. Here we are on the next hole. I'm throwing the Harrier again. These holes are not in order because it's just highlights, but this was a pretty good rip. I'll have a look for a birdie.
Ooh, nice, Em. Good job.
I have been hitting the cage on most of my putts this tournament, so that's what I did there. So there goes that birdie. I put this one in. It looks like a bad shot, but I hit my line. It just flipped a little bit too much, and I almost threw this one in up the hill, and I'll tap in for par. Next hole, I am going a little bit too stable, I think. I was scared of throwing into the rough that's on the right side. This is pretty short. It doesn't look like it, but it is. This is celebrating. Addison just threw in on the hole that you saw I was teeing off on. That was really exciting. Here's the next hole. It's just kind of a stock hyzer. There's a drop off in the back, so I was pretty scared, so this putt was kind of creepy. I left it a little right, but it was a pretty mean chain out for the birdie, so I'll have to tap in for par and move on. My mom did not get this full flight, but it was a pretty good throw. I did not have the distance to get there for the birdie, but here I'm going forehand. Hit that tree, got a pretty good little skip to the basket, took the par. That's a pretty good par on that hole. I'm not too mad about that. Here we are. I'm throwing the Armadillo on forehand. I almost threw this in. I thought it was in the whole way, but it just hits the top band. That was pretty disappointing. That was for birdie. Here I'm throwing the sail. The basket is in line with the tee pad, but the route for the birdie for me is just doing an anhyzer. I do end up parking it for birdie, which you'll see here with the putt. My putts were just so off this tournament. I left a lot of birdies hanging because I couldn't commit on the putt. But this tournament was pretty, it had a lot of pressure, so I'll have to work on that on future things. But I got that birdie. We missed the tee shot, but this was a really good tee shot. I got pin high, but I left myself with an only option of a roller. Shout out to Grayson, my friend, who throws rollers a lot. I've got him to watch him and learned a lot about it. That was a good par save because I'm not good at rollers. Here's the next hole. I'm pretty sure, I'm throwing the Harrier again, just trying to get up there. I wanted this birdie. I got to throw this hole, I think, 3 times. Never got it. Almost did. The putt just wasn't there. This hole on the right is all water. It's a pretty scary tee shot, but I actually laced it twice and got all the way down there for a step putt on both, but we only got one on footage. This one, I felt so good about this step putt. I was so mad when I missed it low on that cage again. I missed so many putts for birdies like that. So I'm just going to take a par now. Here we are on the next hole. Pretty short hole. It's just a turnover. I turned it over with my PA5. Just over the basket. I couldn't capitalize on the putt on that one, so I just took a par. Here I'm throwing the Mockingbird from Lone Star Disc, urging it to get left. I left it a little wide. I had the putt for birdie. I should have made this. The putts weren't there this tournament, so I hit the top cage.
That's all right.
I just tried not to let that get in my head how many putts I missed. Here's another one just to show that I got so close on a lot of these far putts. Here we are on the next hole. I'm throwing the Explorer. It's just straight uphill. I had a pretty good tee shot twice, which you'll see the other tee shot later in this video. This one I don't remember if I got the birdie because we didn't have the putt footage. But yeah, I was happy to get this because on my practice round I just turfed it. I'm trying to throw a flex shot. I didn't show the putt because I missed the putt, but this was a pretty good shot for me. I was having trouble with my flex shots during the tournament, so it was nice to hit that line. This one was kind of lucky, but we had to sprint to our hole because we were late for the tee off. So I had a little bit of a late release on that one, but it left me with a putt for birdie. Which of course I miss again, but that putt was so close. Here I make the comebacker for par. I just have to shake off all those birdie putts I missed. Here the basket's up there, which you saw the arrow. It's pretty far up. I think this is a par 4, so it's like the farthest hole at this course. I just threw the Harrier on hyzer, a little bit too much hyzer, but I'm in a good spot. Here I got a little cocky. I grabbed my P5 and I didn't put enough hyzer on it, and the basket was just too far. I left it short and right. Pretty mad about that one. I wanted the birdie, but moving on. Here is a putt that I swear was going to go in if it didn't hit those leaves. This is a different hole. Here's this shot again. I did get this birdie. I actually almost aced, if you can see. We were cheering it on. It was so close. It just ended up being too far, but it was totally in line. It would have been awesome to get that ace. I've never had an ace, but we'll go with birdie there. Here we are, moving on to the next hole. I'm throwing the penny here from Lone Star Discs. It kind of just dropped out of the air, which I am playing in Denver, Colorado, so the elevation is different than in Kentucky, which is where I live. If you're wondering what's going on, one of my teammates gave me sunflower seeds that were flavored like pickles, so I was blaming her for missing this putt, basically. Here we are at the next hole. The basket is to the right. I went a little too far because this basket is much shorter than I always think it is. I do have the putt for birdie, but I cannot capitalize on a birdie putt again. But it was a pretty good tee shot. On to the next hole. The basket is behind those trees that I'm about to hit. Pretty far behind there. It's starting to rain, so I'm trying to quickly get this birdie putt. I do capitalize on a birdie putt finally. And now we're moving on to the next hole. The hole is straight in front of me behind those clusters of trees that are in the middle. My mom did not put the camera high enough to see my shot, so just look to the left gap and you can see it landing and getting a little roll down to the basket. So I got 2 birdies in a row, which was pretty nice. These holes were right next to each other. On to the next hole. The hole is to the right up the hill. I struggle with height sometimes, so I was super happy to hit this line. I hit it twice during the tournament, only have the footage of one time. I was able to capitalize on the birdie on that hole. Moving on to the next. There is a drop off, so if you miss your line or hit one of these trees, it's pretty bad, so I was happy to hit the line. I did put it a little bit right, so it kind of leaked into the woods.
I think it kicked that way, didn't it?
So I had a little scramble shot for par save. I was going for like a little skip shot to get to the basket to have a putt, which you see there. Wasn't the best executed, but it was good enough to take the par. Here we are. I'm just throwing the Harrier, left it a little bit high and a little bit too much hyzer. But I'm just kind of laying up. There's a drop off at the edge.
That's okay, good job.
Here we missed the tee shot, but this was for this putt is for birdie. It was a really good tee shot. This is the only birdie I got on this hole. It's a pretty hard hole to get quite up there, pretty far. Next hole, there's a drop off by the basket, which is right in front of me. You can see it. It's kind of dark over there. I just threw a flippy beat up truth that I have in my bag. Now I'm just pitching up because I didn't feel like running it. I was kind of playing it safe because I was in the lead and I wanted to stay that way. Here's another run at this basket. Just left it a little short so it didn't go in. Here's at the next hole, just throw another hyzer with my Harrier. That thing is kind of my workhorse distance disc during this tournament, so that's why you're seeing a lot of it. This forehand was not the best with the armadillo. I left it a little bit right, but I was able to make the comebacker for par through these trees.
No.
Back to this hole, I'm throwing the Harrier again. It flipped a little bit too much, but it got up there pretty far. Ended up taking a par, I'm pretty sure. There was a spider on my hat, so that's why I was flinging my hand. I just go with a hyzer on this hole with the Vandal to try to get up there. Here's the putt for birdie. I am able to finally capitalize on a far putt. I gave it enough height to get up there. Here's this hole. I was throwing the penny on this hole. Again, it ended up being a little bit short. In Colorado, I think the penny has lost some of its glide. Still definitely check that out at Lone Star. It's a very good straight disc. It's 3401, I'm pretty sure.
Basket she's going to be heading to.
Here's at the next hole. I actually buried this hole twice. This is the hole that we started out at usually.
On the first round.
I'm just throwing the armadillo, pretty short hole.
Very nice.
Went a little bit too left, but I am hopefully able to capitalize on that putt. Kind of a hard putt. It's pretty close, but at the same time, it's a weird angle for me. This is for birdie, so I'm hoping to get it. I do leave it out a little bit right, but as you can see, it does come back in for the birdie. I shot 5 down altogether. Here's me getting my award at the last hole we played. And remember, throw like a girl.